Dear students, let's start with the third unit of web design management. We have been processing web design management. We have been progressing through the basics of HTML in unit 1. And unit 2, we moved on to cascaded style sheets and how to work on cascaded style sheets. And unit 3, we would be dealing more with responsive web design, which means how the action takes place according to the user needs. How does a website or the web application that you create will respond. Okay, so this responsive web design is more critical because this only decides whether the website is flexible to the user, it is more user friendly, and whether the user likes the way the application has been designed and so on. Right, so this responsive web design is more critical when you really want to develop a very good website. Okay, so in this topic, we'll be starting with SAS for responsive web design, and then we would be going for marking content with HTML5 elements, and then we would be going for how to create a web design for several platforms, you say mobile or desktop, and then we talk about CSS grids and frameworks, and then the user interface kits that is available, and we are going to talk about one interesting topic which is Flexbox for RWD, that is your responsive web design, and how to design smaller UIs, and then how to adapt or how to include images and videos in this responsive web design. And of course, the text content is more important, right? So how to have a meaningful typography for responsive web design. So all these things we are going to study. And as far as the first topic is covered, it's going to be SAS for responsive web design. What is basically a SAS? HTML is basically a design element. It's a markup language, and within that, you're going to apply style sheets. That's what we have been seeing so far. And you have one more programming language which is called Ruby on Rails, right? You remember, and some of you would have studied Ruby on Rails, right? And this SAS is one such package in Ruby on Rails. Usually in Ruby on Rails, we call all the packages as gems. Okay, so this SAS, the expansion of this SAS is syntactically awesome style sheets. Okay, it's pretty much similar to your CSS, but the way they have represented the syntax format is slightly different because it is based on your Ruby on Rails programming language. Usually, what you have your Java program, and you do have your Java scripting for your web applications. Am I correct? Even we discussed Java scripting last unit. But here, instead of JavaScript, you're going for your Ruby on Rails programming language, wherein this package called as SAS, which is syntactically awesome style sheets, it is going to play a role of your CSS. So now let's see how the SAS works. Okay, so basically, as I told you earlier, SAS script is a scripting language itself. Just assume it as similar to your JavaScript, which is available in your Java programming language. And this SAS basically it takes two syntax. One is intended syntax, and other is sassy CSS. That is a CSS format which adapts to your SAS format. Okay, so the intended syntax, it uses the indentation and it separates your entire web application codes into blocks and characters. But on the contrary, when you take your SCSS, that is your sassy CSS, what happens is here you actually apply your CSS to your original code. Okay, so you use brackets to denote the code blocks. You have semicolons to write your rules separately. And intended syntax was initially the first one that was developed by SAS, and later on when CSS came into this web application, they introduced this sassy CSS. Okay, so we'll be mostly learning the sassy CSS in this entire unit. And just like how you save your Java programming file or your JavaScript in .js format, here this intended syntax will be saved as .sass, that is a .sass format, and this sassy CSS would be saved as .scss. So you need not get panic like what is CSS and how am I going to work with sassy CSS. It's more or less similar. Okay, so basically CSS is the only format or only style sheet that the HTML document will understand. But since I am writing it in my SAS scripting language, I have an extension called as .scss. So finally, this is converted to your original native CSS style sheet language only. Okay, so just a different flavor compared to your Java scripting, you're going to have a different flavor. That's it. Right. So let's go into an example of SAS intended syntax. That's the first one that was developed, and it is more of indentation. Okay, to separate the blocks, write the rules, giving a separating by a semicolon, and so on. Okay, so let me take a selector. Okay, selector is variant to which element I'm going to apply. Okay, so I'm going to apply it to the element called as A. Okay, and here all the syntax I represented using a dots. Okay, and here float left, then I'm going for the next element selector B. background is orange, right? So what happens, the same thing, this compiles to the following code. So this is more or less similar to CSS, am I correct? Right? When you see this, you will be able to understand. Say open bracket, within the bracket, I'm giving the float to be on the left side, background image to be, the color to be orange. The same thing only I'm representing using Sass. Okay, so this is an example of intended syntax. And coming to your Sassy CSS, that is based on your Sass scripting language, how do you write your CSS script? Okay, the same thing. Either you can have one element and apply a particular style to that element. See here in this example, the first two lines tells that I am applying a float on my left to the selector A, that is to the element A. And you do have multiple options also, right? You can apply the same style to n number of elements. Am I correct? That's what we were doing in the second unit. So here, see here, I am applying A and B. For both A and B elements, I am applying a background image as orange. Right? So this, how do I represent it in SCSS? Dot selector, open bracket, ampersand A. Ampersand is followed by an element to which the selection or this style sheet has to be applied. And then for ampersand A, that is for the element A, I am applying float left. And then for both A and B, I am applying a background color as orange. So you could see the difference here. In just I am giving dot selector, that is to the element to which I am going to apply the style sheet, followed by ampersand symbol, which is my syntax, followed by the element name. Here it is A, and in the next part it is A and B together. Okay, so what happens here is, as I mentioned earlier, this ampersand symbol allows us to add the name of the parent selector and to the nested selectors also. Okay, so this is one simple example of your SCSS. Okay, so how did we start with JavaScript? We started with variables, arguments, functions, events, event handlers, and so on, right? So let's also start this Sass scripting language, and let's see how they work on with the variables. Okay, so how do you declare a variable in any object-oriented programming language? You give the data type followed by the name of the variable. It can be any variable, right? Any name. So here, Sass variables, they usually start with a $sign and followed by a $sign, you give the elements. Okay, so see here, I am giving $brand blue. So the variable name is brand blue. Colon, I am giving a hexadecimal value, which means for the blue color, I am giving an hexadecimal value. So instead, I can give $A colon 10, which means the value of A should be 10. You assign, right, int A equal to 10. Similarly, I am giving a dollar followed by the variable name colon and the value for that variable. Okay, so when I call this background, see here within the body of the content, what do I do? Background colon brand blue. So what happens? Brand blue has the value, hexadecimal value #416E80. So this will be applied here. Okay, so this is all about your Sass variables. In the next topic, we will be discussing about Sass mixins. Thank you.